will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words.
People look at the Statue of Liberty and they see a proud symbol of our history as a nation of immigrants. Donald looks at the Statue of Liberty and sees a 4. Maybe a 5 if she loses the torch and tablet and changes her hair.
Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
America's political landscape is changing. The land of the free and the home of the brave has lofty ideals enshrined in a sacred document. A democracy where all are said to be created equal. Success is celebrated and anyone can become president. But this time round, voters are being asked to choose between two of the least popular presidential candidates ever to run for the White House. A career politician, seen by some as the ultimate insider, and a billionaire who wants to challenge the political system. For many voters, choosing between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton is almost impossible.
I just think it's all a bunch of hogwash.
Throughout America's Southwest, far from Washington, D.C., many people feel alienated by those who profess to represent them. I'm Iolo Dafydd, and I've come to talk to some of those people to find out what they care about. Jobs, immigration, freedom to live as they choose, and the American dream. America's a country built on immigration, but these days the masses from outside are less welcome.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
The US-Mexico border is more than 3,000 kilometers long, and in Arizona it's become increasingly militarized. Fences, watchtowers, high-tech sensors, helicopters, and a multitude of trucks from the US Border Patrol.
A lot of people crosses the border. Unfortunately, people choose to do it illegally. Whether their intentions are good or not is still a crime, and there's still one of the things that is still happening is they're paying into criminal networks. The same criminal networks that are involved in smuggling drugs, the same criminal networks that are involved in kidnapping, extortion, cartel violence that we've seen. The same criminal networks that are smuggling weapons from the U.S. into Mexico.
Donald Trump has made this border the center of his campaign. He's threatened to deport 11 million illegal migrants who live and work in the States. About 200 kilometers south of the border, migrants meet in the Mexican town of Alta. It's where they buy supplies and contact the people smugglers, who, for several $1,000s, will guide them into the US or into trouble.
There are many shops which are selling all kinds of gear. Backsacks here, clothes, camouflage clothes, caps, t-shirts, socks, anything really that helps people as they try and cross the desert between Mexico and the United States.
Alta's shops sell all the essential supplies for the hopefuls, who will try to survive deserts and mountain ranges to cross the international border. Disorientated and dehydrated, many migrants don't make it and have to turn back. Others are abandoned by the people smugglers, and their remains are found each month in this inhospitable landscape.
Hola! Traemos agua, comida!
But those who do make it across sometimes find a few good Samaritans who will help.
We hope to save somebody, save a life, Even one person that we can save is worth a lot to us. Even though the numbers of migrants coming through has decreased somewhat, the number of deaths has not.
Maria Ochoa's group began daily patrols 14 years ago. It can seem a thankless task, trekking the wilderness to leave out water and other supplies. Migrants are often too afraid to reveal themselves, but there's evidence that the volunteers' efforts are appreciated. In 2016, even charity has become a political issue. Maria accuses border agents of focusing less on helping migrants than on stopping narcotics and people smuggling, an accusation that's rejected by agent Vicente Paco.
You don't accept at all that
Right.
the Border Patrol does not offer humanitarian assistance.
Right, because they're not out there with us. I've had people that have died in my hands. And I have an individual that was surrendering himself to the Border Patrol. They saw my vehicle, he tried to surrender. He fell to his death. I was the only one there. I went to rescue him, and I'm giving him chest compressions. I can feel his cavity, his rib cage given. And as I'm giving him press compressions, he's taking his last breaths of air. We're still human beings, and that's one of the things that people don't understand. His name was Ramiro, and he was traveling with another buddy, and he died in my hands. And for somebody to say that I'm not humanitarian or I'm not doing enough, they haven't been out patrolling with our agents. They haven't seen how much money and resources our agency spends on certifying individuals as paramedics, on rescue operations, and the technology that we have deployed in the desert.
For now, the daily game of cat and mouse between the border agents and would-be migrants seem to never end. US Customs says in 2015 it deported more than 150,000 undocumented immigrants caught near the border. Some of those who don't make it end up here, a soup kitchen less than 100 meters from the border, a haven for migrants who often end up penniless after spending thousands of dollars trying to reach America.
I grew up in America. I was 10 years old when I came to America. All my life is in America. Home is where your family at. Okay, and my mother, my brothers, my sisters, my grandkids, they're all over there. I'm over here in Mexico.
When you explain this to the authorities, don't they understand that you just want to return to the family?
No, they don't. Some of them they do. Some of them they don't.
Surveys suggest 8 out of 10 Trump supporters want to see a wall built all the way across America's border with Mexico. But attitudes in communities near the border are far less clear-cut. Artists from the American town of Bisbee have teamed up with Mexican schoolchildren to turn a barrier here into a canvas.
We are turning an ugly monument that we disapprove of into something that's beautiful. So it's becoming the world's longest kids mural. We have anywhere from a dozen to 50 kids come paint with us every week. So we've been able to do about a mile of the wall so far, and we only have 799 more to go.
Arizona is a swing state, and Gretchen unashamedly supports the first female nominee for the White House. Her Hill car is a bit of a giveaway. Democrat or Republican, Arizonians are united in their love of cars. In this state, drag racing isn't just for professionals. Enthusiasts take over this airstrip for a weekend of high-octane thrills. Forget climate change, gasoline here sells for just over 50 cents a litre. Cheap fuel and plenty of space to play.
It's exhilarating. For me, I think it's amazing what people can do. Most of these guys are average Joes, and they're driving cars that would have been strictly race cars 10, 15 years ago, which is pretty amazing. And then they drive it home.
Neither Clinton nor Trump appeal much to this crowd.
It's tiring. It really is tiring, and I wish it was more cut and dry. I wish there was a clear choice, but there's not. It kind of bugs me when you have Hillary supporters that completely reject everything that Trump says and vice versa, because it's not that cut and dry. It's gray. It's not black and white.
Is this more about the personalities than it is about policies?
Unfortunately, because our media tends to spin the personality more than the facts, and so it's hard to get at the facts. It seems almost like a big reality show when you watch all the political debates. It's really kind of embarrassing. I wish the rest of the world didn't see this.
Trump is a buffoon. He's good at business, but he's a buffoon. And Hillary Clinton is the most corrupt individual I've ever seen in my life. I might end up dead for saying that.
Nevada is my next pit stop, another swing state and home to America's entertainment capital. 40 million visitors every year arrive in this city built in the desert. The attractions are the hot weather, gambling, and to have fun in the clubs and casinos, the shops and the shows. Money is what it's all about. They used to think the good times always roll in Las Vegas. Property developers bet on ever-increasing house prices, fueling an unsustainable property bubble. When the market went bust in 2008, many people lost their homes. During the last few years, there's been a steady recovery. But even now, 1 in every 5 homeowners still owes the bank more than what their home is worth. One real estate developer is worried another bubble could be on the way.
Consumers are offered credit to buy a home that couldn't afford it in the first place. They still believe Las Vegas is where the next gold rush is going to be. And that's not happening. People move here with their savings, sit at home and wait until the phone rings. Well, guess what? The phone will not be ringing, okay? So then they go into a casino, gamble it off because, they believe they can double or triple or quadruple their money. That's not going to happen.
This house in a gated community was valued at $500,000 a few years ago. Now is worth less than half that. So much for the American dream.
There is no more American dream. That's long over. The American dream was to buy your house, raise a family, have a good, reasonable job, make good money, keep most of your money that you make, your income in your pocket. That's not happening for a long time.
Nevada prides itself on being one of the freest states in America. People here take individual liberties seriously. As well as the gambling, there's cheap fuel, legalized prostitution, and people don't need background checks to carry guns openly. Shooters take aim at a range on the outskirts of Las Vegas. Most are far more experienced than this stranger from out of town.
So, up, back, forward.
As well as voting for a new president, Nevadans are deciding whether selling firearms should be done through a licensed dealer. Michael O'Reilly is a retired telecom engineer who's now a gun instructor and supervises at the range.
If you take away the Second Amendment, our right to bear arms, then you start whittling away at the rest of the amendments to the Constitution. We've got no way to defend that.
He's an experienced teacher and shows how a gun should be handled. But shooting accurately is a different proposition altogether.
That's because you jerked.
I jerked it, it pulled.
Nobody's talking about what needs to be done. It's just him against her, or side A against side B. They're too busy talking bad and bad-mouthing each other versus talking about the issues.
I wonder
How do people read that?
It's ridiculous.
What do people read? That they're actually mudslinging rather than talking about policies?
Yeah, they do the same thing I do. You shake your head. I mean, the people I talk to, ask them if they watch the debates. Nah, they're not going to, I didn't watch it. I got better things to do.
After the sun sets, the lights in Vegas dazzle. Gamblers place their bets here 24/7. In 2015, gaming revenue on the Strip was more than $6 billion. Tourism and gaming support more than 350,000 jobs in southern Nevada. This heavy police presence isn't to keep the peace, but to reach out to the community. After so many shootings and deaths recently, bonding with the American public is more important than ever.
Whoever wins, we need somebody that can actually be a joiner of people, not this divisiveness that I think we experience on a lot of levels. Not just the president, I'm not saying that that's what's going on now, but it just seems like there's a divide. You either are a Republican or you're a Democrat, and that's how you vote, as opposed to really looking at the issues. So for me, as a leader in the community, I really look for those elected officials that, have the idea that it's very important to bring people together on issues and work together regardless whether or not or what party you think you belong to.
Political decisions in America are taken at state level and nationally in Washington, D.C. Officials here say the campaigning has been anything but fabulous.
This has become across the board nationally a hate campaign.
You'd put it that strongly?
Oh, without question. Nobody is coming forward with the positive, this is my platform. This is what I do for the economy. This is what I would do for sustainability. You hear nothing. All you hear about is the other person.
California is a land of big skies and wide open spaces. If it was an independent country, it would have the 6th largest economy in the world. It's America's technology hub and home to its all-conquering entertainment industry. But outside California's well-known cities, wealth and glamour are in short supply. It is a traditionally democratic state, but a different America can be seen in trailer parks and out-of-the-way towns. Remnants of an American dream that some feel has disappeared.
We're tired of politics. We're tired of politicians not being honest. We're tired of it being two different playing fields. They seem to back themselves and not back us. And regular Americans, hardworking Americans, are tired of it. I just feel like it's a game for them and it's life for us. And they keep taking from us and not giving back what they should. On one side, you have exactly what Washington has been doing for years. You have a woman who is a criminal. She's deleted her emails, said she didn't, was proved by the FBI that she did. And then on the other side, you have a guy that's not a politician, which most of us want. We want somebody to go in there that's not been bred and raised to be on the same level as them and try and change it.
By far the worst campaign I've ever seen. The most bashing of each other and, just dirty pool, And these are supposed to be educated people, I don't think that either one of them are the qualified person for this kind of job.
Down the road, apart from the usual congestion, Los Angeles is easy living for the well-off. American culture pays in this city, and there's a synergy between Hollywood movie muscle and the power politics of Washington, D.C.
Well, it's often been said that Los Angeles and Washington are very similar cities. And they're both cities where people are obsessed with power, Hollywood power, political power. And the way Hollywood depicts Washington is, I think, each year becoming more and more realistic. The current election cycle makes it easy for comedians and writers because there's just so much fodder there. Things that you couldn't have written in a script a year ago because people would say, no, a presidential candidate would never say that. You can write with total abandon. They're getting ratings. Trump is a train wreck. Train wrecks always get eyeballs. And so they're milking it for everything they can.
Performing is a part of life in LA. Some make their mark dramatically. Ebony Adams is a martial artist who's been a world champion 14 times. She's perhaps best known for her star turn in the cult movie Blade. These days she's a mother of two, juggling work commitments, and offers an interesting observation on Donald Trump.
Just some of his comments, I'm like, there's no way I could agree with that because I feel like he has no impulse control. Honestly, I just feel like he doesn't think about things. I need to go visit him and teach him some self-control, self-discipline, Donald. I totally would do it, you know. I would support, you know, whoever is our president. I just would hope that, you know, a lot of this, you know, unneeded chaos and stuff would just get pushed to the back and the real issues at hand get dealt with.
Donald Trump, yeah. Donald Trump, yeah. Donald Trump, yeah. Donald Trump. I'm about to turn Black Panther. Don't let Donald Trump win that cancer. He too rich, he ain't got the answers. He can't make decisions for this country, he gon' crash us.
LA hasn't voted Republican for nearly 30 years. So it's not surprising that Donald Trump isn't too popular around here.
But we hate Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Yeah. Donald Trump.
Mike Flores used to belong to a gang in South Central Los Angeles. These days he makes his living playing gang members in the movies. He's found his own American dream, but can't forget his past.
Drugs, women, girls, almost everyone's in a gang. The lifestyle, the way we live, poverty that we're in, the struggles, the hunger, the want, the desires.
Mike understands the feeling of being disenfranchised.
A lot of LA wanted Bernie Sanders to be a front runner, and we're stuck with Hillary and Trump, and that wasn't even a decision from us. That was a governmental, or the 1% making that decision for us. So we're gonna vote, but does it really work?
So what would you say then to lots of people who feel that disconnect? What do ordinary Americans do?
Man, it's hard. You have to decide which evil's better, you know what I mean? I think both candidates have both been proven to be liars, both to be proven to be fraudulent. So, like, can we get more options?
Options are needed within California too. More food is produced here than any other state in the US. So water is a life source for 38 million residents and the farmers. And yet, the environment has barely been mentioned during this presidential campaign. 4 years of drought, competition for water between farmers and people living in towns and cities, and different opinions on how to protect the environment but allow enough water for commercial use. So it's not surprising, perhaps, that Clinton and Trump haven't talked much about climate change. State and federal money pay to advise taxpayers and corporations how to use water sensibly.
Definitely, we all need the water. Our native wildlife needs the water. People need water to live here. And so in that respect, there are conflicting issues there.
Success is a badge of honor for many. Gunslingers at the OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona were admired at one time, and still are by some. Donald Trump, a financial fast gun, is popular with millions of Americans. His rallying cry for a great wall along the Mexican border to keep drugs, rapists and immigrants out has resonated, despite fewer migrants arriving today than 10 years ago.
To an outsider, this presidential campaign seems like a throwback to the Wild West sometimes. There have been verbal shootouts between the main candidates, which are unprecedented in US elections. Trump has threatened to jail Clinton if he becomes president after the email scandal, and suggested she could be stopped in other ways if she tampers with gun laws. If Trump wins, it'll be one of the biggest electoral upsets in American political history. A maverick defeating a political insider. But Hillary Clinton is a fighter who aims to be America's first female president. Americans seem deeply divided, unsure who to trust in one of the world's great democracies. On my journey, I've met people from all political stripes, but many agree on one thing. The choice they face on November the 8th is deciding who they dislike the least.